A man secretly works for the gangster who destroyed his family, but his deadly plan for revenge gets complicated when a mysterious neighbor discovers who he really is. As our tale opens, we meet Victor alongside his closest friend, a man named Darcy. Shortly after, Darcy receives a phone call with terrible news. One of their comrades is dead. He immediately shares this information with Victor, and the two of them arrive at a house. It becomes clear they are both employed by a mafia organization, explaining why so many people have assembled there. Their boss, a man called Alphonse, soon makes an appearance. They then proceed to the refrigerator, where they discover a corpse stashed inside. The deceased was one of their own. Alphonse notices something clutched tightly inside the dead man's fist, so he carefully pries it open. Inside, he discovers a letter, and accompanying it are several shredded photographs. He begins piecing the torn pictures together. After examining everything, Alphonse understands someone is hunting him and intends to eliminate his whole crew. He pauses to consider who it could be. Only a single name surfaces in his thoughts: Harry. This Harry is his greatest rival, his most significant foe. That is why Alphonse acts without delay, promptly arriving at Harry's residence. He presents the photograph to Harry and states that the letter's handwriting belongs to him, a fact he is certain of. However, Harry flatly denies any such actions, insisting he never murdered any of Alphonse's men. He claims the accusation is completely baseless. Alphonse continues to press the matter, but Harry persistently denies it. This refusal infuriates Alphonse. He then pulls out his firearm and shoots Harry dead on the spot. Witnessing this execution, all of Harry's men become enraged. They begin firing indiscriminately in their direction. A hail of bullets fills the air as Alphonse's crew returns fire, and Harry's crew fires back. The gunfight rages for a considerable duration, with bodies falling to the floor one after another. A few gunmen spot Alphonse and take aim directly at him. Just as they are about to fire the fatal shot, Victor arrives at the perfect moment and rescues Alphonse. And Alphonse clearly recognizes that Victor just saved his life. He expresses his gratitude for the heroic act. Once their business is concluded, all the men return to their respective houses. Victor also heads back to his own place. While spending some moments at his apartment, he glances through the window. He notices a woman named Beatrice, and their eyes meet repeatedly. Victor begins to suspect that Beatrice might be interested in him, but he dismisses the thought. A few days later, a letter arrives for Victor. It was penned by Beatrice, who invites him to join her for a dinner date. Victor accepts the offer, and they soon meet for their meal. They engage in conversation, and from their talk, it's evident that there is a mutual attraction between them. Before long, their dinner concludes, and Victor offers to drive Beatrice home. However, Beatrice directs him to a different location, parking the vehicle before a specific house. Once the car is stopped, she pulls out her mobile phone, presenting a video to Victor. The footage shows Victor violently assaulting a man. She then tells him that she is aware of his profession and the number of people he has murdered. She now possesses evidence. But she says not to fret. She will not be taking this to the authorities. You just have to perform a service for me. She then points towards the man inside the house, instructing Victor that he must murder him. Hearing this demand, Victor begins to contemplate his options. Beatrice explains that she was once very pretty, but this man crashed into my vehicle. Because of that terrible crash, my face was scarred just like this. This is the reason I want that man punished. Should you decline to help me, I will send this video straight to the police. And you already know precisely what follows afterward. Still, Victor refuses to carry out such a deed. Beatrice persists with her threats, and the two of them keep clashing over it. In the end, Victor heads back to his apartment. Once he returns home, he starts viewing old recordings of his wife and daughter, both of whom are now dead. Victor is certain that Alphonse is the one who caused the deaths of his cherished wife and child. That is the only reason he slipped into Alphonse's circle, to carry out his vengeance. And every single gang member killed so far has fallen at Victor's hand. Meanwhile, we observe Darcy, who is now trying to uncover the truth. Who slaughtered all the men in his crew? Was it Harry, or someone else altogether? He is therefore doing everything he can to piece together this puzzle. Next, the focus moves to Victor. He is detaining an Albanian kingpin at a hidden spot. This hostage is Ilir's brother, and Ilir is another powerful mob leader within the city. Victor abducted him for a very specific purpose, to make Ilya think that Alphonse orchestrated the kidnapping. Then Ilya would go after him, and the two rivals would destroy each other. This captive was also linked to the murder of Victor's family, which explains why Victor devised this plan. In another sequence, Alphonse is shown meeting with another gangster, Lon Gordon. Gordon wishes to speak with Alphonse regarding Harry, believing Alphonse has made a serious mistake. But Alphonse appears ready to stand by his actions. The scene then returns to Victor, positioned on a rooftop with a rifle in hand. He is seconds away from shooting Alphonse when suddenly his phone rings. The caller is Darcy. Darcy informs him that Harry wasn't the one responsible for their dead men. The killer was someone else. So they need to find this person. He is still free and could strike again anytime. After this call, Darcy passes this information to the entire group. Now, the whole crew understands the situation. The attention shifts back to Alphonse. Gordon gives him another note, explaining that Harry didn't murder his friends. At that moment, several of Alphonse's men rush in. They report that Darcy just contacted them and verified Harry wasn't the killer. The murderer remains at large, and that individual might be anywhere. This cafe is no longer safe. You must leave at once. Taking their advice, Alphonse rises and departs. Just then, Victor spots Alphonse leaving, so he steadies his aim. But he repeatedly fails to secure a clear shot. At that moment, Alphonse's crew notices the gunfire. Darcy also spots the shooter above on the rooftop. Consequently, the group storms toward that building. Realizing this, Victor instantly flees across the roof. By now, all of Alphonse's men have swarmed inside. Any person who blocks his escape is eliminated by Victor. In this fashion, he slays them all one at a time. Eventually, he leaps off the building, landing on the street below. He dashes into the crowded road. Suddenly, a car halts directly in front of him, with two trees inside. Victor jumps in immediately, but Darcy identifies the vehicle, so he begins pursuing it. The passengers continue to escape as Darcy chases. After a while, Victor orders Beatrice to pull over and stop the car. Beatrice obeys. Victor leans forward and kisses her. Right then, Darcy arrives and fires at the car. But the moment Victor shifts, Darcy becomes confused, thinking he has been following the wrong car. So he pulls Victor aside and explains the full matter to him. Victor then starts moving with the crew, pretending he knows nothing. After dealing with this issue, he heads back to Beatrice's apartment. There, he reveals to her the truth about why he is tied to the Mafia. He explains he is originally from Hungary, not America. In Hungary, he had lived peacefully with his wife and child in a modest apartment. But Alphonse was ordered to clear that very building. When the residents refused to move, he unleashed an attack. He opened fire on everyone. In the chaos of that brutal assault, Victor's wife and daughter were murdered. That is the reason he returned to America, to avenge them. After hearing his account, Beatrice becomes deeply moved and emotional. Later, Victor returns to his home. He plays the old recordings of his wife and daughter. Watching the footage, he collapses into tears. We are then shown numerous photos inside his apartment. Looking at these images, it becomes clear they are his future targets. Victor now intends to kill every one of them. Only then will his vendetta be complete. For now, however, Victor goes to see Ilya's brother, the man he holds captive. He sets up a camera and begins recording, directing the man on what to say. Ilya's brother starts speaking into the camera, claiming that Alphonse abducted him and is keeping him locked away. He begs his brother to come rescue him. Once Ilya's brother finishes his plea, Victor removes his blindfold. Now he can see Victor's face. The instant he does, Victor scatters many thorns nearby. They prick the man, causing him to writhe in pain. Then Victor pulls out his gun and eliminates the captive. Afterward, he meets Beatrice. He hands her an envelope containing a memory card. This card has the recorded video of Ilya's brother. Victor's plan is for Beatrice to deliver the footage directly to Ilya. The intention is that Ilya will kill Alphonse, and a savage war will erupt between the two criminal factions. Victor would then take advantage of the bloodshed to wipe out everyone. Beatrice agrees to help, as her feelings for Victor have turned into love. Suddenly, Victor's phone rings. Darcy is on the line, telling him he has discovered who has been murdering their men. He isn't American, he's Hungarian. Long ago, Alphonse killed many people, and among the victims was his daughter. After explaining, he reveals Victor's real identity. Yet Darcy still doesn't realize this man is Victor himself. Victor, the Hungarian, had changed his name and come to America. Darcy now believes he can find this man quickly. Darcy adds that 2 months earlier, this man faked his own death. And while everyone thinks he is gone, Darcy is convinced he still lives. In an effort to confirm the story, Alphonse called Illier, who was also present during the incident. Both Alphonse and Illier were involved in the man's death, and while Illier claimed to have personally carried out the killing, Alphonse, and I, found his account hard to believe. Overhearing these new details, Victor also realized he had to complete his mission quickly before the crew discovered he was the same man. Because of this, Victor went to find Beatrice. He took her in his car and pointed out the man who had horribly disfigured her face. Victor told her he would finish the job today. But seeing this, Beatrice became terrified. Victor then coldly stated that he felt nothing for anyone and could murder this man without hesitation. After this declaration, he got out of the car and was outside for a while. He then returned to Beatrice's side and gave her proof that the man had been murdered. Upon hearing the news, Beatrice was more stunned than before. Victor then told her that he had completed his part of the deal. He said, "You assisted me, and I assisted you. From this day forward, we must both go our separate ways, and you must never attempt to see me again." After uttering these words, Victor left. He did all of this intentionally, aware that his death could come soon because the Mafia was close to discovering his true identity. This is why he did not want to jeopardize Beatrice's life. It was then that Darcy summoned Victor, telling him to meet at the den because he needed to speak with him. But Victor cleverly fabricated a story, claiming his car had broken down, and after telling him this, he gave Darcy his current location, asking to be picked up. Victor's plan was to eliminate everyone that night. The anniversary of his daughter's death had arrived, which is why he intended to murder everyone on this day. He then arrived at a den and began waiting for Illier, anticipating that Illier would arrive here at any time. He believed he would then witness the demise of every single person. However, a significant amount of time went by, and nobody showed up at the location. Victor then grew suspicious and telephoned Beatrice, questioning her. "Did you successfully deliver the package?" Beatrice replied no. Victor became furious and demanded to know why. She then explained, "Because I love you, and I do not want the Mafia to murder you. That is the reason I have held on to the package with me." Upon hearing this, Victor became even more distressed. Then Darcy arrived at Victor's apartment building. He saw that Victor was not there, so he began to wander throughout the house. He discovered photographs of every crew member. After finding all of these items, Darcy finally understood that the murderer was actually Victor. Darcy then looked at Victor's personal computer. He discovered a photo of Victor with his wife and his children. After seeing this evidence, he was certain that Victor was murdering all of the men to avenge his family. At that moment, Beatrice called Victor, and she said, "I found something out. You did not actually murder the man who ruined my face, and I know that you still have some humanity left inside you." So Beatrice went to Victor's apartment, believing that Victor must be inside. She opened the front door and discovered Darcy standing right before her. She realized something was terribly wrong and attempted to flee. Darcy grabbed a hold of Beatrice and answered his ringing telephone. On the other end, he heard Victor's voice. Darcy told him that he now knew who the real murderer was. Victor began to explain himself to Darcy. He said, "I hold no animosity towards you. I never had any desire to kill you." He said, "My allegiance remains firmly with Alphonse because he is the man I work for. For that reason, you must go see Alphonse. Because if you refuse to show up, then I will murder this young woman." After making this threat, he took Beatrice and departed from the apartment. Victor knew that he was left with no other choice. He got into a vehicle and drove to Alphonse's hideout. He smashed through a wall to get inside and immediately began firing at everyone. The goons all started shooting back at Victor. But Victor came completely ready for a fight. He knew exactly how to handle these kinds of people. This is why he began to eliminate everyone, one after another, and murdered nearly all of the henchmen. Then he came face to face with Darcy. He did not attack. Victor had a clear opportunity to kill Darcy, but he chose not to kill Darcy, lowering his weapon and proceeding inside to rescue Beatrice. At this point, we found Alphonse and Illier, who had taken refuge inside a room with Beatrice. They were hiding to remain safe. Beatrice was witnessing this entire scene unfold. It was then that she spotted a laptop sitting in front of her. She quickly removed the memory card and began playing the video on it. This was that very same video where Victor held Ilir's brother as a captive and made a recording of him. Ilir saw his captive brother. He listened as his brother said that Alphonse had imprisoned him. Because of this, Ilir became enraged and pointed his firearm directly at Alphonse. Alphonse pointed his firearm back at Ilir and said that he had no involvement in any of this. I have no idea where your brother could be. But Ilir refused to listen to Alphonse. The two of them shot each other at the same time and both collapsed to the ground. It was then that Victor entered the room. He saw that both of the men were now dead. He therefore took Beatrice along with him. But just as he was getting ready to exit the building, he found Darcy standing directly in his path. Darcy was pointing a gun right at him. Darcy then asked Victor, "Why did you not kill me? You had the perfect chance to kill me." Victor responded, "You are not my enemy. You have a family, the same as me. I don't want you to lose your family." After listening to these words, Darcy lowered his firearm. He realized that everything Victor did was for his family. Because of this, Victor departed with Beatrice. And with that, the film concluded here.